Hi there, my name is Heidi and I'm the co-founder and CEO of ERT, and I want to show you how you can use our FastAgency framework to quickly build and deploy a SaaS solution that is powered by multi-agent AI. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. FastAgency webpage is obviously FastAgency AI. You do need to create an account, but that's very easy, so I will not show it. Let's go straight to the building page. As you can see here, there's a list of things that you need to set up, starting with secrets, which are of course some keys and tokens and whatnot. So the first thing that we need is an actual access to LLMs. Now we do need you to have your own account, either directly with OpenAI or through Azure or with Together AI, because you need to get the API key that you can put in here so that FastAgency can connect to your account. So I'm going to add the Azure OpenAI API key because that is what we are using. I'm going to call it very creatively Azure key. And yes, it's usually a long string of letters and numbers that I cannot really show you, but I do have it copied. So here I'm going to paste it, and ta-da, I have my Azure key set up. Now the next step is to actually add LLMs that we want to use. In our case, one LLM that we're going to use, of course, the Azure OpenAI. I'm going to name it again very creatively my first LLM. And now just to turn your attention to it, there are some things that are already written here as a default, but when you get your API key, you're going to have some additional information or different information. So for example, the full name of the model is something that you get when you get the API key, and you have to put it here. The same thing with the endpoint, so base URL. This is something that you need to put here. And when we save, there we connected our first LLM. Now, when it comes to toolboxes, I have to admit this is a little bit of a secret sauce of FastAgency. Because when you think about it, LLMs are trained on generic data. That's all over the internet, of course. But it is very good for generic tasks. But when you really need your agent or your LLM to be very focused or very specific and very good at use cases where, for example, it needs to have access to some private data where there's not a lot of data, or data outside its training data, then you kind of need a little bit something extra. And with the toolbox, the agents can actually have access to the specific API that is defined by you. So you can actually really create an agent out of the API, and we're going to show you how that's working. So if you want, you can have agents without the toolbox or connected to any toolbox, but if you want them performing better, then it's very good to add it. So for example, I'm going to add a new toolbox, and since this demonstration is going to be creating a SaaS that is using agents, you can ask about the weather and weather forecast. Then I'm going to call this weather agent toolbox because I want to connect it to a specific API, which we, for example, created here. It's a simple weather API because it's going to make our agent much better. So we have to go to the docs, and we need this JSON URL that we need to add to FastAgency, and that's the OpenAPI URL that needs to go here. Okay, and now we can create agents as well. So we have different types of agents, as you can see. You have assistant agents, you have user proxy agent, you have a web server agent. So assistant agent uses LLMs to kind of solve a particular task that's either given by the end user or sometimes by other agents in the context of, multi-agent chat. So it can be writing code, writing summaries, whatever. And you can also pass and add specific instructions to that agent to even make it more specialized, or better said, you can add a prompt to it. The user proxy agent is, well, kind of self-explanatory. It's the one that communicates with the end user, and it almost doesn't really use LLMs, but it communicates. It takes the input from the user and then passes it to other agents as well. And Web Surfer, again, a little bit self-explanatory, but it's a basic surfer agent that can search the web, visit web pages, and even generate summary of all the pages visited. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to build a two-agent team that is consisting of assistant agent and user proxy. So assistant agent, I want that one to be an actual weather specialist, weather, so I'm going to call it the weather agent, because I want to connect it. Okay, so this is the LLM is going to use, but I want to connect it to that weather API that we added to the toolbox to make it even better. And like I mentioned, you can give a prompt to it to even sort of fine-tune it a little bit more. So we said, okay, you're a weatherman and everything else that you can read, so we don't really lose a lot of time. But here we gave it a little bit more specific details on what its role needs to be. There you go. This is the first agent. The second agent is going to be the user proxy. The user proxy, or account manager if you want it, so the one that interacts with the end user. It's very simple, and there we go, we have our two agents. And now we can actually create the first team. And the team, I'm gonna call it the weather team. The initial agent should be the user proxy, because that's the one that initiates conversations with the end user, and our secondary agent is the weather agent. So there we go, we have a team. But before we actually go to the build and deploy SaaS part, we can test if everything was set up properly and if those agents are actually working. So we have the playground section where you can test what's going on. So, okay, the team is obviously the only one that exists, the weather team. And I want to initiate the conversation where, okay, I'm going to ask, I'm going to say hi first. The usual. It's very complex things, but okay. Hey, how can I assist you today? Thank you. So I want to know what I can do in Zagreb. No, I won't even put the country. Zagreb this weekend based on the weather. Or what can I do? And now, okay, the user proxy needs to pass that information to the weather agent. And the weather agent, there we go. It even gave me some activities I can consider. It's gonna be warm. I can go outside, I can go inside. Okay, cool. I'm actually satisfied. So this is working. And I really want to now build a standalone SaaS where some other users can chat with my agents to inquire about the weather and activities. Let's go to deployments. Now we will have to add a few more things, as you can see. So we will need the GitHub token and the Fly.io token in order to properly deploy the SaaS application. There are instructions here. You can see all the prerequisites. And of course, for the GitHub token, if you don't have a GitHub account, you kind of need to have it, but I presume you do already. So what we need is a personal access token. And I will go back to GitHub and to my settings. Oops, and then to developer settings. And the personal access tokens, generate a new token. Weather agent service, sure, let's call it that. And as you can see here, there is a minimum required scope, so we need these things checked. So repo workflow, read org gist, and user email. So here I'm going to generate a token, which you can see this time, but don't worry, I will delete it later. And I will add it to our secrets. So here we go. GitHub token, whether, whatever team. This is the token. Yeah, no. And we still need to add the Fly.io token. So you also need to create an account there, but it's still easy. And there are instructions here as well. So I already created a Fly.io account, and you need to go to the menu to tokens and create a token. I'm going to call this one better agent. And the value as put in instructions that you need to put is 6 times number 9 and the small letter h. And let's create. You can see this one as well, but I will delete that one as well later on after we are done with this tutorial. So here, okay, whether, okay, it's here, add a token, again, no, and we can go back to deployments. So finally, no more error messages, but what we need is the name of the team, of the thing, the item, whether thingy. The team that we want to use, the weather team, the GitHub token as well, Fly token, we already added that. And now we're going to hit save. So what happens here is that FastAgency has created a new GitHub repository in your GitHub account. As you can see, ta-da, it's a whole new repository. And let's see now what is happening in the background. As you can see, it's creating 2 pipelines. So the creating a new SaaS application built by FastAgency. And if we check it out, what's going on here, there are actions going. As you can see here in the instructions, that say it takes about 10-ish, 15-ish minutes, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. So I am going to actually pause now so we don't have to wait, and we'll see you in a second. And we're back. This was actually very fast. It finished in 4 minutes, 8 seconds. Not bad. And here we see, yes, it was deployed, and we can visit our newly deployed app. Let's see what it looks like. There we go. A completely standalone SaaS where your users can chat about the weather with our weather agent. So, okay, let's go and let's see if it's working properly as well. Okay, yeah, no, I do not have account. Let's sign up. Yeah, new. And the new chat. Okay, what was that? What can I do in Zagreb this weekend? Let's ask the same question. Or no, let's not ask in Zagreb. What can I do in Berlin this weekend? Depending on the weather. And hopefully it will work. Woo! Okay. Again, the same thing. It recognized the city, it recognized what it needs to do. Wow, okay. So here it is. The current temperature, what's going to be, and it's even giving you some, or giving me some ideas what can be done in Berlin this weekend, depending on the weather. Okay, And there you go. We managed to build a standalone SaaS powered by multi-agent AI team in a very short time. Besides that little part of everything rolling, this is in real time, really filmed. So yeah, we do know FastAgency, and it's in its alpha. It does have its limitation, but we are going to be upgrading it regularly. So we would really appreciate that you play around with it, try to create your own SaaS solutions, and of course, give us your feedback and let us know what else you would like to have. Thanks, and bye.